When you go in for any interview, most of the times the interviewer wants to ask you this question: what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Sounds pretty simple, right? And I'm sure you all must have gone through it in at least one of your interviews. But it might not be as easy to answer this question when you're actually in the interview room. The interviewer wants to know what are your strengths and your weaknesses based on your education, experiences, and how does that set you apart from the other candidates. In today's video, I'm going to tell you simple ways of answering these questions. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Bubble Talks. This is Mansi, and if you're new here, definitely click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that you are always updated with new videos. Because this question sounds so simple, most of us go ahead and make these few common mistakes. Before I jump into the actual video, I want to share some common mistakes that y'all might be making while answering this question. The first mistake that most of us make is either we underplay it or we overplay it. Because we're uncomfortable talking about ourselves, we might not always be as honest or as affluent in talking about it as we might be while talking about other things. So if somebody asks you this question and if you are not prepared, you might not be projecting all the right things about you. Or if you are really not comfortable, you might be overplaying it a lot. The second common mistake that we might be making sometimes is we've not understood ourselves correctly, which is we've not analyzed who we are in terms of our aptitude as well as our skill sets. That also might lead to some misleading answers when you answer this question. The third common mistake is we don't know what are our strengths according to that particular job or that relevant position. For example, I can eat 4 burgers in 15 minutes. I really can't. But the idea is to choose what are your relevant strengths and how will that set you apart from the other candidates. Having said this, let's jump right into how should you go ahead and answer this question. I'm going to share with you all a few general tips that will help you regardless of the position that you're applying for. The first rule of thumb or the first tip is have 4 strengths at least, out of which 2 will be your soft skills and the other 2 will be job specific or technical skills. The soft skills can be used for any company industry that you're applying for, whereas the 2 technical skills that you might choose, something like a software that you might have experienced before or some kind of certification that you have, can be altered according to the position that you're applying for. The second general tip is use a lot of positive words. You know that human brain reacts to positive emotions way better than negative emotions. Try to use words like flexible, delightful, enthusiastic, just things that people might want to listen to you more in the interview room. So make sure that whenever you're framing the sentence, you have adjectives that describe you more positively. The third tip is go ahead and relate it back to your past experience and use examples of your real life. For example, for me, it is I love to do stakeholder management, and I have done that previously in my positions where I have worked as a product manager. And I will describe that little more with the number of stakeholders I have managed, the teams that I have spoken to, and how that particular strength of mine can play as an advantage in the position or the company that I'm applying for. Having said that, let's now go ahead and see what are the exact steps. So make sure that you watch the end of the video to take with you the exact steps and the methods to answer this question very effectively. Step number 1. Look at the job description and the roles and responsibilities very carefully. Most of the times, the clues of what your strengths should be will come out from there. For example, if in the JD they've written that you need to be a team player or you need to be somebody who can actually manage teams, that is one of the skill sets that you need to go and describe and relate it to your past experience. The second step is, on your computer or paper, pen, whatever method you want to use, create an Excel sheet if on the computer, or just write it down. Write down what are the things that you want to highlight about yourself. So make a list of all the things that people have complimented you for, or the things that you want to go ahead and share with people. Once you have this list ready, segregate that into soft skills as well as technical skills. The third tip is, research a little bit more about what is it that the company wants and what is it that is actually written in the job description. Sometimes the hiring managers are not the people who actually write the JD. It might be a different department, it could be HR, it could be just somebody who doesn't know the actual role. So they might be sort of making a very generic job description. So while you're analyzing the job description, that will definitely give you some insights. Another pro tip is to go ahead and research about the unwritten rules of the JD. What is it that the company actually needs and what is it that that particular job market is looking for? While you do primary research about yourself, it's always good to do secondary research about yourself. Go ahead, talk to people who you have worked with in the past. Get reviews. Look at the feedbacks that you have received in your current position or in your previous companies. What are the things that stand out? Because you are looking at yourself from one perspective, but then your colleagues, your co-workers, your bosses, people you've actually interacted with for 7 to 8 hours in the day while you were working in that job might have different perspective to show you. So sit down and reflect and analyze what are the things that people have actually mentioned about you and which can set you apart from the others. Once you've followed all these steps, go ahead and create a sentence next to each of the strengths that you have created. For example, if one way of showing your strength about collaboratively working is, I work effectively in larger teams. Although I have worked in independent contributor sort of positions before, I think getting different perspectives from people encourages everybody to work in a collaborative way. And that leads to a better product or to a better end solution, or it helps in problem solving. So this entire statement or whatever you want to go ahead and sort of deliver should be written next to each of the strengths that you have written. Another example could be if you are somebody who's working in a more quantifiable role like sales, you can say that I have worked in the ANZ market before and I have overhit my targets by X percentage. I have always believed in going ahead and putting my best foot forward, and I don't hesitate to go an extra mile when it comes to customer building or relationship management. The last step is practice it in front of the mirror. Once you've written down everything and you have framed the actual sentences, make sure that you have an automated reply to it so that you're not wasting time thinking about it while you're actually in the interview room. So whatever you've written against 2 or 3 of your constant strengths, I want you to go and practice it in front of the mirror. That will help you gain confidence, and the interviewer will know that it's a natural flow and they'll be more curious to ask you relevant questions post that. I know that in these tough times of COVID, a lot of y'all are going and applying for jobs and interviews, and sometimes it might be frustrating. But I hope that these simple tips and steps of how to answer your strengths and weaknesses will help you not only set you apart from others, but also gain some confidence that you can definitely go and grab the job that you've always wanted to. Because this video was so long, I've separated it into 2 parts. So after you're done with the strengths, go ahead and see the next video, which is about weaknesses. I hope you'll enjoyed this video, and if you are new here, definitely subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. This is Mansi and you're watching me on The Bubble Talks, and here's where we talk about personal growth, professional growth and mindsets.